Welcome back, guys, to the Ange Delish podcast. Another day, another episode, another reality check. Let's get right into it. First topic, first quote. Free will, though it makes evil possible, is also the only thing that makes possible any love or goodness or joy worth having. I want to start off with a quote regarding free will, because we all have free will. Of course, some of us believe we have a predetermined destiny. Some of us believe that God already has a path for us and that we have, like I said, a predetermined destiny. But at the end of the day, as a human being, no one can control you. And every single human being, we all have free will. That's what makes life beautiful. Just like the quote says, that's also what can make life so evil, because evil people, since they have free will, they can do, of course, evil actions and evil things. But at the end of the day, good people also have free will. And with free will, we can also do good actions and good things. So yes, like people who believe that we have a predetermined destiny, I also believe to a certain extent that we have a predetermined destiny. What I mean is we're all born different, right? We're all born with different attributes and different negative aspects about our life and about us as a person. So that's why I feel like, in a way, we are predetermined to reach a certain destiny, a certain goal that is different than someone else, because as a human being, we're all different, meaning that we have a different destiny and different aspects about us that make us good, that make us bad, that makes us better and make us worse. That's why, of course, in a way, we are predetermined to be good at something. Let's say someone who's born with fast twitch muscle fibers, he's born tall, lengthy, and he's born, like I said, with fast twitch muscle fibers, then of course he has more chances of ending up being fucking the next Usain Bolt than someone who's born shorter limbs, slow twitch muscle fibers. So that's what I mean by, that in a way we all have a predetermined destiny. And that's what I believe in, to be honest. But at the end of the day, we all also have free will, meaning that even if you are someone who is born with fast twitch muscle fibers, long legs, tall, athletic body, if you don't put in the work, if you don't put in the necessary steps towards reaching that goal of becoming a world-class sprinter, if you don't put in the work, if you don't put in the necessary steps, you're never going to reach that goal. So that's why I feel like, and that's what I mean by free will is the most important. Because yes, we're all born with different talents, but if you don't have free will, I mean, we all have free will, but if you don't have the work ethic, if you don't have the determination, and if you don't put in the work, you're never going to reach your destiny, which can be predetermined as being a sprinter. And then, of course, as all human beings, I feel like we all have multiple different talents and multiple different fields. Just like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? He was one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. He won like Mr. Olympia 7 times. And then he became the highest paid actor in Hollywood. I'm going to be honest, he couldn't act for shit. But at the end of the day, he was paid millions and millions. And he was, for quite some period of time, he was the highest paid actor in all of Hollywood. So that is a big fucking accomplishment, right? And then he became governor of California, not once, but twice. So in many different fields, of course, some people can say that those fields in a way are connected, which I agree. Let's say bodybuilding, with his crazy physique, his crazy body, when he translated into becoming an actor, his physique and his body played a big role, right? Like Terminator, Conan the Barbarian, and many other roles where he used his physique, his body, to attain those roles and to just get that role and to play that role well, right? He played Terminator really well because of his accent, because of his cold face, his cold attitude, and his body, right? His height and everything. So of course, some people can argue that they kind of went together, but at the same time, how many other bodybuilders never made it into acting and they wanted to go the same trajectory, the same path as Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Like, let's take Sebum. In a way, if you ask anyone who knows anything about bodybuilding and who is passionate about bodybuilding, 95% of them are going to say that Sebum is a greater bodybuilder and has a better physique, a more perfect physique for bodybuilding than Arnold Schwarzenegger. On top of that, he's even better looking, in my opinion, than Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he speaks English way better than Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Arnold had a big accent. Sebum Sibam's first language, his mother tongue is English. His English is perfect. And he never did anything with acting. Now, of course, maybe he doesn't have any passion. Maybe he doesn't have any ambition to go into the acting world. So, of course, maybe some can argue that it's not only about talent and about having the perfect English and having a good face for Hollywood, a good body. It's also, I mean, having ambition. But I'm pretty sure if someone told him, you know what, if you go into acting, you're gonna make the same money as Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm pretty sure he would have the same ambition, right? But at the end of the day, so far, he didn't accomplish as much as Arnold Schwarzenegger when it comes to Hollywood. And he has way more in his favor to accomplish one day more in Hollywood than Arnold Schwarzenegger. But at the end of the day, he still didn't. He has, like I said, better face for Hollywood. His English is perfect. He probably, I don't know if he acts better. Maybe he does. I mean, you can't really act any worse than Arnold and like Sylvester Stallone, right? Like, I mean, no disrespect. I fucking love Arnold and Sly. I fucking respect them. But when it comes to like pure acting, like theater acting, where it's purely acting skills, they're not the best, right? And I'm being kind right now. They're not the best. So of course, like I said, Arnold, crazy talent for bodybuilding, but not for acting. But he had, what did he have? He had crazy ambition, crazy willpower, and crazy free will, and then crazy hard work and crazy consistency and persistence. So that's why he made it big into acting. And then, of course, some people can say that acting, being in front of the camera, talking, you know, all of that can translate then into politics. Like, right, Ronald Reagan was an actor before becoming president of the United States. So there's many other cases, and some can argue that both of those make sense. In a way, they do follow one another. It's not like someone was a good mathematician and now he's a politician, right? It's two completely different things. Like, right, mathematician, you're not a good orator in general. You don't have people skills. And a politician, you need to have people skills. You have to be a good orator. You have to talk well. You have to have good ideas, which is more similar to actors than, let's say, a mathematician with being someone who wants to be a politician. So, of course, in a way, all of that can be similar, can have many different things that come together. But at the end of the day, like I said, coming back to my quote, we all have many talents and many different aspects, and we're all different. That's why I feel like we all have a different predetermined destiny. But to reach your destiny, to reach your full destiny and your full goals, you have to use your entire free will, day in, day out, work like a maniac, never give up, have a crazy mentality, crazy attitude, and just be a fucking dog, be a monster. So that's why, like I said, when it comes to predetermined destiny, free will, do we write our own story? Is it already written? I feel like it's a mix of both. When I say that it's written, it's already pre-written, I mean that it's already how God made you, with your gifts, with your talents, and not pre-written. Free will is because you have to put in the work to reach your full destiny, to reach your full potential. Because the only way you can reach your full destiny is when you reach your full potential. And the only way you can reach your full potential is by putting in a lot of fucking hard work, working to the max of your hours, to the max of your potential, and working to the max of your capabilities to grow, to learn, to become more competent, to become better, and then reach your full potential. And once you reach your full potential as a human being, mind and body, and competency, skills, and everything else, that's when you reach your full destiny, and that's when you completed life, quote unquote. Of course, it's not all about money. It's not all about success. It's not all about status. It's not all about fame. It's not all about getting women. What's the most important is having peace of mind, is feeling good in your own skin, is being proud of yourself, is being joyful. And in my opinion, the only way you can be joyful is not when you chase money, when you chase fame, when you chase status, is when you chase your passions, regardless of how much money that brings you, of how much fame that brings you, how much status that brings you. When you chase your passion is what will fulfill your soul the most. And when you find something that fulfills your soul to the maximum, to the mostest, that's when you will be the happiest. That is when you will have the most peace of mind, peace of joy. That is when you will be the most joyful as a human being. As I know from personal experience, now being someone who is chasing my dreams, chasing my passion relentlessly and just focusing, putting all my attention on my passions, when I only focus on myself, my passions, and what I want to accomplish, I never compare myself with others. I don't really care how much money I'm making. I don't really care how famous I am, who knows me, who doesn't know me. I only care about when can I do my passion again? How can I grow and how can I become better at what I love doing at my passion? And when I only focus on my passion, I only focus on myself. When I only focus on myself, I don't have time for outside noise. I don't have time for negative noise from other people, from outside noise. I don't compare myself with others because I'm only focusing on becoming a better version of myself. I'm becoming better than who I was yesterday in terms of my passion, becoming better in my passion in the field that I want to pursue. And when I only focus on myself, that is when I have full peace of mind. That is when I sleep like a baby. That's when I wake up in the morning fucking happy, joyful, excited, ready, ambitious to attack the day, hungry to attack the day. That is when I have the most energy, when I only focus on myself, on my passion, and becoming better day in, day out in my passion. That is what is the most important for me. And that's when I feel like when everyone follows their passion, when everyone does what they love to do the most, regardless of what other people say, regardless of how much money that brings them, fame, status, whatever, they only focus on doing what brings them the most joy, what fulfills their soul and their heart the most. That is when you're living life to the fullest. Even if you never reach millions of dollars, if you never reach worldwide fame, if you truly do, and I truly mean if you truly do what you're truly passionate about, what your soul truly loves doing, what you truly love with all of your heart to do, you don't care how much money you're making, you don't care how much status that's bringing you, you don't care about anything, you only care about doing that because that's something that you cannot live without. And when you do it, that is when you're living life to the fullest, and that is when you're experiencing life to the fullest. And since we're all different, we all have different passions. And since we all have different passions, we all have different things that bring us full joy to our soul, because we all have a different soul, meaning that we all have different things that fulfills our souls, right? If someone has a different soul than mine, then a certain different passion will fulfill his soul and not mine soul necessarily, because we have different souls and their intuition, they're intertwined, they're in tune with different things in the world, different things in the universe, because our souls connect and are on different frequencies from each other, which is normal because we're all different, right? That's why follow your passion, follow your dreams. Like I said, we all have strengths and weaknesses. We all have different talents. And that's why, yes, in a way, our destiny is pre-written. Our soul is pre-written. Our final destiny, in a way, is pre-written. But to get there, and believe me, what is written for you, your talents, your weaknesses, your strengths, that is what will bring you the most joy and the most happiness in life. That is when you will feel the best, and that is when you will feel like you're doing the most and you're experiencing life to the fullest, is when you're facing your fears, of course, to reach your passion, and when you're doing your full passion. That's the most important. And that's why we always follow our passion and we don't care about money. And believe me, talking about money also, when you follow your full passion, when you become really good at it, no matter what it is, the money will come regardless of if you want money or if you don't want money. When you bring value to the world with your talents, with your gifts, the world gives you back not only with peace of mind, not only with joy, with happiness, with the fulfillment of your soul, which are the most important aspects, but it also comes with money, which is also important because, like it or not, we have to survive with money in order to live life. Next topic. There's so much power in believing that everything will work out, even when you don't know how or when. You just believe that it will. The universe. It takes a lot of fucking mental strength and a lot of belief in yourself and the world, confidence in yourself and the universe to believe that one day everything will work out, Even if logically and with your mind, with your rational mind, you cannot fully comprehend how it will happen, but deep down with your soul, with your heart, you just know that one day it will happen. How? You don't know how. When? You don't know when. But one thing's for sure, you know that one day everything will work out and everything will be good. When you truly believe that with all of your heart, not 50-50, I believe in it, but next day I don't believe in it. I believe in it today, tomorrow I don't really believe in it. When you truly believe with all of your heart, with all of your capabilities to 100% that everything will work out to the best of your capabilities, you keep working hard, you keep striving towards your goals, even if you don't see any results for a long period of time. But at the end of the day, you believe in yourself, you believe in the universe to 100%, to the full extent of your capabilities. You believe in the universe and in yourself, that one day everything's going to work out. The power in that is fucking crazy. There's nothing more powerful than you believing in yourself to the fullest extent of your capabilities and to believe in the universe with all of your heart. There's nothing more powerful, and there's nothing that will make you more powerful and make you more resistant, make you more relentless than believing in the universe and just believing that everything will work out to 100%. That is when you are the most powerful as an individual and as a human being, is when you believe that everything will work out. Even if you don't know how, you don't know how your bills are going to get paid, you don't know how you're going to reach your destiny, you don't know when you're going to reach your goals, you don't know when you're going to get married, you don't know when you're going to reach when you're going to meet the love of your life. You don't know when you're going to make millions of dollars. You don't know when you're going to reach your goals, when you're going to accomplish your dreams. You don't know any of that, but you keep working hard every single day. You don't give up. You keep being persistent. You don't care how many failures you take. You don't care how many losses you face. You don't give a fuck about any of it. You just know that one day, you never lose hope, because you know one day everything's going to work out and everything's going to be exactly how you want it to be, how your soul wants it to be, and you will reach your full destiny. Believing in that to 100% without any hesitation, without any doubt, will make you powerful beyond measure and will give you all the energy you need in life and all the power you need to go throughout life as a fucking top G. Next topic, Alex Hormozy wrote, he said, the biggest success habit is being willing to look stupid. That is also one of the hardest things for us human beings. We don't like to be weak. We don't like to appear vulnerable amongst others. We are social creatures, so we care a lot about our image in social settings. And like it or not, when you start something new and you want to have big success in it, you have to go through a lot of trial and error, face a lot of failure, face a lot of setbacks, and face a lot of losses. In order to become better, you have to tumble a lot and face a lot of failure. And when you face a lot of failure, when you tumble a lot throughout the process, you're going to look stupid amongst other people, which is normal. You're starting off something new. How the fuck can you be good at it? There's no way. Of course, you're going to be bad. You're going to be bad at it. I'm going to be bad at it. He's going to be bad at it. Everyone's going to be bad at it. But if you have the will and if you have the mental strength to look stupid amongst others and you don't care, you keep moving forward, you're going to improve 10 times faster and 10 times more than someone else who is afraid to look stupid amongst others, who doesn't want to look stupid amongst others, and who will never do the necessary steps because he simply wants to hide behind a cocoon and he doesn't want to appear vulnerable amongst other people because that scares him. I'm here to tell you that having the capability to be vulnerable amongst others, to put yourself out there in the world, be vulnerable and not give a fuck, that is when you are literally the most powerful as a human being. That is literally when you are the most powerful version of yourself. When you're not afraid to be vulnerable amongst others, when you showcase your talents to the world, when you're not afraid to fail in front of the world, in front of your loved ones, in front of your family and friends, in front of your colleagues, in front of your peers, when you're not afraid to fail, where you're not afraid to look stupid because you tried something new, you tried to strive for greatness, and of course you failed, you took losses, where you're not afraid of any of it, that is when you are the most powerful, and that is when you'll keep going until you fucking succeed, until you fucking make it. And that is when you literally are the most powerful. In this world, you cannot get away with being neutral. You have to choose a side. Good people who let bad people do bad things are also to blame. This is what I mean. Let's say there's something that's happening, a political case, right? Let's go back to 1932 when Hitler got when he got elected into power for Germany, right? He won with like 30-something% at the most. The people who voted for him are to blame, but also the people who didn't vote and who didn't do anything to stop Hitler from doing all the atrocities he did, him and the Nazi regime, the Nazi party. The people who did those atrocities are to blame. Of course, they're some of the worst people, and they did some of the worst actions ever done on planet Earth. But the people who stood by and did nothing, they're also to blame. You cannot be neutral. I understand people want to be neutral because you're in a safe zone. You cannot get judged because you're not taking any risks, you're not doing any actions, and you just want to live life by being neutral and living in a safe zone. I understand that. But that's not how it works. And you cannot go that way. You have to choose a side. People who did nothing, people who did something, they're also to blame. Maybe not to the same degree, maybe not to the same extent. It's up for debate. We could do a podcast about if they're to blame to the same degree, to the same extent. We could do a podcast for hours. But if I cut to the chase, people who were part of the Nazi regime, who did all the atrocities that they did, and people who stood by and did nothing, both of them are to blame. You had to choose a side. People who fought against those people, that was, of course, now through history, we know that they were on the good side. And people who stood by and did nothing, and people who were on the Nazi side, they were the bad people. So you cannot stay neutral. You cannot stay neutral. You have to choose a side. Because people, like the quote goes, the people who let bad people do bad things are also to blame because we did nothing, right? Bad people are always going to look to do bad things, but it's our job as good people to do good actions and to put a stop to bad people who want to do bad actions. We cannot simply lay down, do nothing, and let bad people do bad things. We're also to blame because we did nothing to stop it and we did nothing to prevent it. I took Hitler and the Nazi to make an example, but there's many other cases where this proves my argument. That's why you cannot just stay neutral. You have to choose a side. And by choosing a side, some people are going to see you as a devil. Some people are going to see you as a good guy. Right? In general, throughout time, we can know which side is badder and which side is better. Now, of course, it's up for debate. Some people are going to say that fucking the KKK are good people. Most people are going to say that they're bad people. So, of course, in general, we all know that they are bad people and they are advocating for bad things. But some people do see them as saviors, as good people. So, of course, in some people's perspective, they're seen as good people. But in general, of course, we all know that in general, they're bad people. It's like a fact of life, quote unquote. Life it's all about perspectives. We all have different perspectives on different topics and different ways of life and different arguments and different everything in general, different aspects of life. We'll have different perspectives, but in general, we all know what's good, what's bad. Of course, there is a really big gray zone when it comes to good and bad, but in general, we all have the same understanding and the same notion of good and bad throughout the world. In general, of course, some cultures, some different cities, some different countries, some different people have different notions of what is good and bad. But in general, I mean, fucking killing a person is bad around the world. Killing an innocent person is seen as bad around the world. Now, of course, some countries don't believe in public execution for murderers. Other countries believe that there should be execution for people who killed other people. But when it comes to innocent civilians, throughout the world, we all see killing innocent people, innocent civilians as something bad. So that's why in general we all have the same notion of good and bad, but it can vary. And there is a really, really big gray zone throughout different cultures, throughout even different individuals when it comes to good and bad. But that's why, in my opinion, you cannot be neutral. When the world is facing a crisis like the Second World War, you cannot stay neutral, because by you staying neutral, you're going to allow and you're going to let bad people do bad things to good people, to innocent people. And that's why you cannot just stay neutral in crisis. You have to choose a side and you have to fight. Okay, this is a big question. I've had this debate with many of my friends, and it's something that, it's a debate that there's no right or wrong answer. There's just different perspectives, different visions of life. So does a woman's past matter? And to what degree? In my opinion, a woman's past matters. Now the question is, to what degree? Is it the most important thing in a relationship, a woman's past? No, it's not the most important thing. Because in my opinion, it has to be case by case. But if we take the general gist of it, the generality of it, in general, a girl with fewer body kills, there's more chances of her being a good girl and being more wifey material than a girl who has a high body count in general. Now, of course, you can take case by case. There can be an argument to make that a girl who has a high body count, let's say 50 kills, there's an argument to be made that when she is ready to settle down, she's gonna be the most loving wife, the most respectful wife, and she's gonna be some of the most wifey material woman on planet Earth. That can be a fact. And then you can take a woman who has 2 kills, but when she settles down, she's a bitch. She's not wifey material. She doesn't respect her husband. She doesn't love her husband. And she even ends up cheating on her husband because she never experienced life to the fullest. In my opinion, you don't have to. In my opinion, living life to the fullest doesn't mean having sex with as much as strangers as possible. Some people see it that way. I don't see it that way. But hey, to get back to my main argument, a girl can only have 2 kills, a body count of 2, but she can end up being the worst wife, not loving and respecting towards her husband, and even cheat on her husband. But the woman who has a past of 50 body counts, she never cheats on her husband. She's the most loving wife, and she's the most wifey material woman on planet Earth. That can't happen. So in my opinion, in conclusion, it's case by case. But in general, there's more chances, in my opinion, of the girl with a lower body count to be more wife material and to be a better mom than a woman with a higher body count in general. But of course, it is case by case. Case by case is the most important, because when you're marrying someone, you're marrying a person. You're not marrying the generality of who that person represents when it comes to body counts. You're marrying her as a person, and she's marrying you as a person. So who she is as a person, who he is as a person, that is what's the most important. Because when you're marrying her, you're not marrying everyone else who has the same body count as her. You're marrying her specifically as a person, and same goes the other way around. When she's marrying him as a person, she's not marrying all the guys who have the same body kills, the same body count as him. She's literally marrying him as a person. So that's why, in my opinion, it's case by case. That's what's the most important. But in general, there's more chances that the woman with a high body count is less wifey material than the woman with a low body count. But like I said, the most important is case by case. And talking about body count, in general, a man with a high body count is not the same as a woman with a high body count. Why? It's because it's way easier for a woman to sleep with a guy than it is for a guy to sleep with a woman in general. Of course, if you take fucking Justin Bieber and you compare Justin Bieber with a woman who's a fucking 2 out of 10, I don't want to be mean, but you know what I mean. Of course, Justin Bieber can literally text any girl on planet Earth and he can sleep with her. Of course, and the girl who's a 2 out of 10, who's maybe obese, isn't the best looking woman. Of course, if she texts 100 guys, maybe 50 or 60 are going to want to sleep with her. and the other 50 or 40 are not going to want to sleep with her. But Justin Bieber, if he texts 100 girls, 95 girls out of 100 are going to want to sleep with him. So, of course, if you take fucking Justin Bieber, it's way easier for Justin Bieber to sleep with women than it is for an ugly woman or a less attractive woman to sleep with many guys. Of course. But in general, if you take a woman who's an 8 out of 10, you take a man who's an 8 out of 10, and both of them have the same social status, have the same money, they're the same on the like relationship scale, on the fucking one night scale, however you call it, they're the same level. If the 8 out of 10 girl asks 100 guys to sleep with her, 100 single guys, 99 are going to say yes, and the other one is going to say no because he doesn't do one night stands because he's like a soft artist. If an 8 out of 10 guy asks 100 girls to sleep with them on a one night stand, 2 of those are going to say yes. Like one night stand directly, just like that, like literally cold text them, let's have sex. 2 out of 100 are going to say yes if he's lucky. Like if he's lucky, 2 out of 100 are going to say yes. If the girl texts 100 single guys, yo, let's sleep tonight together, 99 are going to say yes. Like I don't see a guy saying no to a girl who's an 8 out of 10, meaning that she's hot. She's really hot, an 8 out of 10. And he's single and he has the time and he's really close by. 99 are going to say yes. I don't see any of my friends who are single, I'm going to say it like that so none of my friends get in trouble. I don't see any of my friends who are single saying no to that girl. And I see many girls saying no to a guy, even if he's hot, if he's good looking, if all of that shit. If he texts 100 girls, yo, let's have sex tonight, they're all going to say no and no one's going to say yes. That's why, in my opinion, in general, a guy with a high body count is not the same as a woman with a high body count, because it's way harder for a guy to have a high body count in general than it is for a woman. Like I said, if you take fucking Justin Bieber and you compare Justin Bieber with a girl who's a 2 out of 10, well then of course it's fucking easier for Justin Bieber to sleep with 100 girls in 10 days than it is for a girl who is a 2 out of 10 to sleep with 100 guys in 10 days. Of course, fucking Justin Bieber can text almost any girl and he can sleep with her. Of course, but in general, like I said, it's harder for men than it is for women. And that's why, in my opinion, a man with a high body count is different than a woman with a high body count. He's seen as more of a king than a woman, because and the only reason why is because it's easier for a woman to have a one night stand or to sleep with a guy than it is for a guy to have a one night stand or to sleep with a woman in general, of course. Next topic. We should always, this is something I've always talked about this, and it's really hard. Of course, I understand in your personal life and just in general, it's always hard to tell yourself the truth. We don't like hearing the truth, especially if it's a truth that deep down we know it's true, but we don't like hearing it. So with our mind, sometimes we fucking gaslight ourselves into believing that it's not true, but deep down we know it's true, but we hate facing the truth when it's something that's bad. When it's a truth that is good about us, then we boast about it, we love facing it, and we love hearing it from coming out of other strangers' mouths. It's normal. But when you're able to tell yourself the truth, to accept the truth about yourself, and then to strive to become better, if it is something you can't change, like the quote goes, I have the quote here behind my phone. It's a Bible verse, and it's one of the best verses ever. And it's, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. So like I said, when you're capable of accepting the truth, and if it's something you can't change, then you strive to change it. So then you become a better version of yourself and you become a better person. If it's something like your height, like something like that, you cannot really change your height, right? So you just have to accept it. But if it's something you can change, like have better grades at school, and you tell yourself the truth, like, okay, I don't have the best grades, but if I want to have better grades, I have to put in more effort. I have to study harder. I have to listen more in class. Maybe it's hard, but it's the truth. If you want to have better grades, study harder, listen more in class. And then at the end of the day, you are going to have better grades, which is going to translate to you having a more education and just more knowledge on certain topics, which will, like like the quote goes, knowledge is power, and having more knowledge is just better, right? But like I said, always be able to tell yourself the truth, especially when it's constructive criticism regarding the truth, right? If it's a truth that isn't really constructive, then doesn't really change anything. If it's something you cannot really change, then, I mean, yeah, you can still tell yourself the truth, because you're not going to be like lost in life. You're going to know your position and you're going to know who you are. But when it's constructive criticism, even when it comes from other people, if it's constructive criticism and it allows you to grow, you should be happy that people tell you constructive criticism if it comes from a good place, right? If it's not to bring you down, if it's not to bash you and to just make you feel like shit, if it's literally constructive criticism, if it allows you to grow, then of course it's always good. And also when it comes to other people, telling other people the truth is always good, especially when it's constructive criticism, right? If it's a truth that won't really change anything in his life because it's not really something he can change and it's not something fun to hear, then maybe you don't necessarily have to tell him, because what's the point, right? Let's say someone's born with a fucking big head, right? I mean, there's nothing he can really do there. Even if it's the truth, what's the point of saying it? I mean, maybe he knows it, probably he knows it, so you don't really have to say it. But I mean, you can say it, it does remain the truth, but it's not constructive, right? He cannot change the shape of his head, he cannot change the size of his head. So it remains the truth, but it's not constructive criticism. It's not something constructive. But if it is something constructive, I'm all for saying it. I promote it. I believe that people should always say constructive criticism to other people, but there's a way of saying it, right? There is a way of saying it. Instead of, let's say your brother, right? Or your cousin or your friend or whatever, a relative, a close member in your circle is overweight. And of course, it is constructive to tell him that he should lose weight because he's going to feel healthier. He is going to be healthier and he's going to feel better in his own skin. But there's a way to say it. You don't have to say, yo, you fucking fat piece of shit, you should lose some fucking weight. It does remain the truth. He should lose some weight. But the way you said it wasn't the kindest way and wasn't the most constructive and the nicest way to say it. You can simply say, you know what? If he asks you, not everyone's going to ask for your opinion, but if he asks you, you know what, should I lose some weight, like in your opinion? And if he does have to, and let's say like the doctor tells him that he has to lose some weight, you can simply say, you know what, you're going to be healthier, you're going to feel better in your own skin, you're going to be more confident, you're going to feel better. The better you look, the better you feel. When you look good, you feel good, and you're going to be healthier, which is the most important. Yes, you could lose a couple of pounds. That's really respectful. It remains the truth. You told him the truth and you gave him constructive criticism. And then, of course, if you are someone who has a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge on how to lose weight, then you can even give him some knowledge. You can even give him some pointers. You know what? How about you eat a bit less food, eat more protein, eat less sugar, eat all of that, train more, move more, walk 10,000 steps a day. Like you give him some life hacks. Then you're even going to help him. And that's what I mean. We should always tell the truth, especially when it's something they can change, when it's constructive criticism. But I'm also all for saying it respectfully, and there's a certain way to say it. Like I just said, yes, it remains the truth. On both people said the truth. The guy who said, yo, you fat piece of shit, you should lose some weight, he did say the truth. He told someone that he should lose some weight. It remains the truth. But the guy who said, you know what, you're going to feel better, you're going to be healthier, you're going to look better if you lose some weight. They both said the same thing. At the end of the day, the main conclusion, the main point is that you should lose some weight. But the way they said it, the second person who said it is more empathetic and it's going to motivate more the other person to lose some weight. And they're going to feel better in their skin. And it's just going to be more respectful. And like it or not, we are social creatures. We do live amongst each other. We do live in a society. So we must have a certain level of respect amongst each other. I mean, I feel like that's just normal human fucking decency. This is something I saw in my class, in my uni class. I feel like nowadays we have so many terms for so many different things. Like nowadays we have gaslighting, we have like aura farming, we have this and that. When before it was just like fucking, we said, yeah, that guy is a liar. But now we have so many different terms So for so many different things, like for everything, for every little action that a human being can do, we already have a term for it. I don't know if it's social media. I guess it is social media, but for everything we have a term. When before it was simply, yo, this guy wants to be cool. Now it's like, yo, the guy is gaslighting, he's aura farming, he's fucking, I don't know, I forgot some other terms. I maybe should have wrote them down. But I feel like nowadays we have so many different terms for fucking everything. When a guy is slightly weird, we're gonna say, yo, he's 20% on the autistic scale. When before we would simply say, yo, he's slightly weird, who gives a fuck? But nowadays we have so many different terms. We're so like, we want to be so accurate on such little small things that we create different terms for many different things. And it's just like, I feel like it's so micromanaged. It's so fucking crazy. When I was in my uni class, I saw a guy like explain his argument to the professor, but he was using so many terms. Like, it's good to know terms and to use terms. There's nothing wrong there. It makes you more educated and it makes you more knowledgeable on certain aspects. But you cannot just use terms and not have a point at the end of the day. You have to have a point at the end of the day. You have to know what you want to say, and you have to speak clearly, and you have to, at the end of the day, you have to literally say what you mean and mean what you say and have a point. You cannot just use terms and we don't really understand what you're trying to say. The most important, of course, using terms shows that you are knowledgeable, that you have a lot of knowledge, but you have to say, and you have to make a statement. You have to say something. Like this guy was saying so many terms, so many like different terms regarding so many different things. But at the end of the day, I was like, okay, but broski, what do you want to say? Like, what is your statement? What's your thesis? Like, what's your fucking theory? What are you trying to say? He was just throwing terms here and there to show his knowledge, but he wasn't making a point. Like, what's the point you're trying to make right now? So that's what I mean. There's nothing wrong with knowing a lot of terms. It just shows that you're very educated and very knowledgeable and very well read about certain aspects, but you have to make a point. What's the point that you're trying to make? That's the most important. And I feel like now with so many terms, people throwing terms left and right, that some people forget to make a point and they forget to make the statement or the point that they're literally trying to make. And that's the most important. Okay, next topic. So someone wrote on Twitter, they said, imagine if Epstein was Muslim. The whole world would blame Islam as a whole, but since he was Jewish, they frame it as an individual crime, not a religious issue. That's Western hypocrisy in plain sight. The person who wrote this, you got this all wrong. Let me say why. There's one Jewish country on planet Earth, and it's Israel. In Israel, it's illegal to marry or to have sexual relationships with a minor. It's written by law in their constitution. It's written black on white that it's illegal. That's why Epstein, even though he's a Jewish, no one says that this is a Jewish problem, because in every single Jewish community, there's actually just one Jewish country on planet Earth. It's illegal. So it's not a Jewish problem. It's not an Israeli problem, because in their country, in their culture, in their way of life, it's fucking illegal. The reason why people say that amongst Muslim communities that marrying underage children is a problem is because not all Muslim countries, but many Muslim countries on paper, by law, tolerate people marrying not toddlers, but young kids at the age of 8 or 9 years old. It's literally written on paper by law that they're allowed to do it. That's why not all Muslim countries, I know like Afghanistan, they're allowed because they have the Islamic regime in place. I know that in Iran, now with Khomeini, the Islamic regime in place that they have, it's also allowed over there. And that's just, I think there's like 56 Muslim countries on planet Earth. And some of those countries, not all of them, but many of those countries allow men, full-grown men, to marry underage women, not women, girls. They're not even women, they're girls. They allow it by law. That's why some people say that it's a problem in their culture in their way of life and in the Muslim communities because by law, on paper, they allow it. In Jewish communities like Israel, which is the only Jewish country on planet Earth, of course, there's many Jews in America, but America remains a majoritarily Christian country. In Israel, which is the only country that is majoritarily Jewish, it's illegal. They're not allowed to marry underage girls. They're not even women, they're girls. That's why that even though Epstein, who is an individual who is Jewish, even though he did it, it's not a Jewish problem because in Jewish communities, it's not allowed. Even if a Muslim doesn't do it, it still remains a Muslim problem in Muslim communities because many Muslim communities around the world tolerate it and allow it. That's the problem. On the Epstein list, there was many Christians, right? No one's ever going to say that it's a Christian problem because in all Christian nations, it's illegal to marry a girl who's fucking 8 years old or 9 years old. It's illegal. That's why it's not a Christian community problem. It's an individual problem amongst Christians. But in some Muslim communities, it's legal. It's written on paper by law because of their Quran that they're allowed to do it. And that's the difference. And that's why this person is completely off with their tweet. I understand where they're coming from, but if they just took the time to simply understand it a bit more, what they're trying to say, they would understand that they're not making any sense. And then saying that the Western hypocrisy that's Western hypocrisy in plain sight. No, we all stand by the fact because like I said, with everything I just said for the past 2 minutes, it's a fact of life. That's why people say that in some Muslim communities, they have a problem with marrying underage girls because it's literally happening in some parts of the Muslim world. So guys, recently Donald J. Trump, he posted and then deleted a video of the Obamas. Like he took the head of Barack Obama and the head of Michelle Obama and then he put it in the bodies of monkeys, of apes. Now that's really fucking racist, man. I ain't gonna lie, bro. That's really, I'm lying. I'm not lying. I'm laughing right now. I'm not laughing because what he did was good. I'm just laughing because that's really fucking racist, man. I ain't gonna lie. Yes, not protected, but I was for Trump in many different aspects. Like I said so many times, I don't really like Trump. I don't like him as a human being. Like imagine he's fucking 78 years old and he posted a video using the head of Barack Obama, using the head of Michelle Obama and putting them in the bodies of monkeys. That's really fucking racist. And he's 78 years old. Like if that was a 12-year-old kid doing it, I wouldn't give a fuck because I remember when I was 12 years old, you're fucking 12 years old. You're dumb, you're naive, you're ignorant about the world and about life. You're trying to be cool with your friends. You're trying to be funny. You want attention from social media. So you're going to do something like that. You don't fully understand. Your brain isn't fully developed. But Donald J. Trump is fucking 78 years old. And sometimes he acts like a 12-year-old. And this is one aspect. This is one example of when he acted like a 12-year-old. Him doing that is really fucking stupid, is really ignorant, and is really fucking racist, man. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Jesus fucking Christ, bro. He fucking took monkeys and he put the head of Barack and Michelle Obama, man. Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, like I said, I don't like Trump as a person. I never liked him. He's a liar. He's a cheat. He bankrupted so many people. He still owes a lot of money to many different working class people who helped him build his stories, his buildings. He never paid them. He fucked over so many people. He's a bad person. The only reason that I'm happy that Trump won is because I was so fed up with this far left woke shit that he was like the opposite of them. And I was just so fed up with them that I want the opposite of them to win. But at the end of the day, Donald J. Trump as a human being isn't a good person. And one of the reasons why, who the fuck would post a video of monkeys and edit the face of Barack Obama on the body of a monkey and Michelle Obama on the body of a monkey? Like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Me as a 25-year-old, I would never do that. Why? Because it's fucking disrespectful as shit. And not only is he 78 years old, he's the president of the United States. So let's say I was to do it. Of course, everyone would call me racist, as they would have the right to. Everyone would call me stupid, as again, they would have the right to. But I remain a 25-year-old fucking car salesman, wannabe podcaster who goes to university. Like, at the end of the day, like, who the fuck am I? But Donald J. Trump, he's the fucking president of the United States, and he posts a video like that, and then he deletes it. Like, at the same time, like, broski, if you are gonna post a video like that, if you're gonna show, like, that you are fucking racist towards the Obamas, maybe he didn't do it based on race. Fuck, that's kind of crazy. Maybe he did it because he just wanted to, like, bash the Obamas a lot. At the end of the day, you cannot do that, broski. You're the president of the United States. You're 78 years old. You're a full-grown fucking grandpa, bro. You're gonna die in a couple of years. Like, you cannot do it. You look like a 12-year-old fucking kid who's all pissed off and who's all angry. And if you are gonna do it, don't delete it after, because you're gonna look like a pussy. If you stand by it, if you post it, if you had the balls to post it, stand by it, don't delete it. Because even if you deleted it, everyone already saw it. And if 10 people saw it, they're gonna share it with the entire world. And now the entire world knows that you posted it. You didn't hide it from anyone. The entire world knows that you posted it, and then you deleted it. You should have just posted it. And then once you posted it, fuck it, you posted it. I'm not saying it's good. It's not good. It's fucking bad what you did. But you posted it. You stand by it. You fucked up. Who cares? But you stand by it at least. At least you have the balls and the courage to stand by what you mean. But now you deleted it. So now it's even worse because you deleted it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about something I love so much. Multiculturalism. I said so many times on my podcast that the aspect of multiculturalism on paper is beautiful, right? We all get together. We're all human beings, different cultures. We all get together and we strive under one country for the greater good of all human beings in that country. Like, on paper, multiculturalism is really beautiful, right? It's really beautiful. But in my opinion, on practice, it works to a certain degree. But if you want full multiculturalism, like full-on multiculturalism, it's never going to work. Because, like it or not, humans are primal, humans are tribal, and they're always going to have a soft spot, and they're always going to care more for their group than other groups, which is normal because we're all primal and we're all tribal. And if I'm being honest, in general, of course, white people are the least tribal when it comes to their group. It's a fact. A black person sees another black person, he's immediately going to call that person, hey, my brother. A white person doesn't do that with other people, with other white people. We don't do that. Because in general, white people are the least tribal when it comes to their group. And that's a fact of life. It's a fact. White people are the least tribal when it comes to their group, which is, if we're going by race, they're the least tribal. Even when we go by culture, they're the least tribal. Even when we go by country, they're the least tribal. In general, white people are the least tribal, especially white Westerners. White people from Eastern countries like Serbia, they're way more tribal than white Westerners, but they still remain less tribal than other countries. So that's one reason why multiculturalism won't work. And also because since we're all tribal, we're always going to have a softer spot and we're always going to love our community more than other communities. Like, in general, Portuguese people hang around with Portuguese people, white people hang around with white people, black people hang around with black people, Asians hang around with Asians, Indians hang around with Indians, Serbians hang around with Serbians, Senegalese people hang around with Senegalese people. In general, of course, I mean, my friend group, we're all different. We have blacks, whites, Arabs, Latinos, Asians, we have everything. But in general, groups stay together because we are tribal as human beings. But so multiculturalism, on paper, it works to any extent. In practice, it works to a certain extent. And in practice, full multiculturalism will never work. And to back up my argument, I have Elon Musk, who wrote on Twitter, he said, for a country to survive, there has to be a common culture. Nobody dies to defend a multicultural economic zone. That's fact. He went on to say, American culture, with its English, Scots, Irish origin, is great and worth fighting for. I agree. American culture, America, the United States of America, right now has the best way of life in the world. That's why everyone wants to live in America. That's why everyone wants to live in the Western world, because the Western world is the greatest place on planet fucking Earth. And that's a fact. And in my opinion, in the Western world, in general, the best place is America. It's America. That's why everyone wants to live in America. And what makes America so great is its WASP origins, That's what makes America so great. And that's why everyone wants to live in America, which American culture is by origin, English, Scot, Irish origin, is great and worth fighting for. And more specifically, America was built by WASPs. It was created by WASPs in a WASP culture, in a WASP way of life, in a WASPy mentality. That's why WASPs built America, and that's why American culture is WASP culture. Some may not realize it, but that's why people come here. That's a fact. The reason why everyone wants to immigrate to the Western world, everyone who's not part of the Western world, they all want to live in the Western world. Why? Because it's the greatest place on planet fucking Earth. And especially now in 2026, everyone wants to live in North America. Why? Because North America is by far the best place on planet Earth. And the reason why it's so great is because of its WASP origin, is because it was founded and built by WASPs, except for Quebec, which was built by French Catholics. But in general, North America was built by WASPs, on WASPs values, on WASP culture, on WASP way of life. For people who don't know, WASP means white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. WASP culture, WASP way of life, and WASP everything. And that's what makes America and North America so great. Something Charlie Kirk once said, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I agree with it 100%. But let me ask you guys this question. He said, Islam is not compatible with Western civilization. I agree. I said so many reasons why. I said so many times why. But let me ask you the questions. Let me ask the questions to all my Muslim friends and everyone who's Muslim who's watching this right now. Do you believe that Islam is compatible with the West? If yes, why? I'm actually curious. If you defend Islam, not that you defend, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Islam. Islam is just a religion like any other religion. But if you believe that Islam is compatible with the West, tell me why. It's a question I'm seriously asking right now. I'm legitimately asking right now why you believe that, because I want to see your perspective. In my opinion, Islam is not compatible with Western civilization. I said it so many times and I stand by it. Different values, different way of life, different perspective on life, many different culture, different everything. Everything's different from Western civilization compared with Islam. It's different. It's completely different. But if you believe that Islam is compatible with the West, tell me why. I'm actually curious why. Just tell me why. Okay, recently, like I said, talking about Islam, once I made a clip on a podcast saying that in general, Muslims are very good people, but there is a 5% of Muslims who want Sharia law, who want to impose Islam in Western civilization, and that to them, I'm saying fuck them. Still to this day, I'm still saying fuck them I'm still saying fuck them, I'm still showing them this finger. It's always going to remain like that because Sharia law will never come to the Western world. I don't care who you are. I don't care how badly you want Sharia law to come to the Western world. I don't care how badly you want Islam to enter every home in North America and Western civilization. It's never going to fucking happen. And to those guys who want to convert the Western world into Islam, to you guys, I'm saying fuck you. Many people got mad because I said 5%, and they said 5%, that's not correct. You guys are actually right. It's not correct. I did a lot of digging into it. I did a lot of research. It's actually 25% to 30%. That's a fact. CIA says that, MI6, all the biggest secret intelligence services in the Western world, they all say it's from 25 to 30% of all Muslims who are Islamist extremists and who do want to impose Muslim religion into the Western world. So, of course, I was wrong. It's not 5%. I was wrong. It's 25 to 30%. And to those 25 to 30%, again, fuck you. It's never going to happen. You're never going to bring the Sharia law into the Western world. The Western world is always going to be based on Christian values, on Judeo-Christian values, and it's always going to be Christian and Western values, Western civilization, and Western way of life. So not to those 5%, but to those 25 to 30%, you can go fuck yourself because it's never going to happen. The Western world will always, always, always remain the Western world and Western civilization. If I might add, I don't want to go this way, but since we are talking about this, there's more chances of the Arab world becoming part of the Western world with Western civilization, Western way of life, Western values than the other way around. It's probably never going to happen, but the Western civilization, this is a fact, is way more advanced than the Muslim world, than Arab civilizations. The Western world is way more advanced. That's a fact. There's no place on planet Earth that is more advanced than the Western world. That's why everyone wants to live there. And when I say Western world, Japan is part of the Western world because Japan are really fucking advanced. China are also really advanced. But all together, human rights, economy, technology, everything put together, the Western world is the most advanced. Ted Turner once said, famous quote from Ted Turner, he said, "Early to bed, early to rise, work like hell, and advertise." This is a quote that Arnold Schwarzenegger said word for word that he lives by. And something that I recently realized is that waking up early in the morning is really fucking good for you. Like, of course, at the end of the day, if we all sleep 8 hours, we all have 16 hours, I agree. But there's just something to waking up early in the morning that gives you like extra motivation. It gives you like an edge. It gives you like a couple of steps in front of other people who don't wake up as early as you. Of course, I understand like logically and rationally, if we all sleep 8 hours in general, we all have 16 hours. But it's just like waking up early in the morning when the sun is rising, when the birds are singing, when the birds are chirping, when everyone's when the world is slowly waking up. It's like you feel like you have an extra edge. You have like an extra something above other people who don't wake up as early as you do. So of course, yes, we all have 16 hours. But waking up early to bed, so you can be early to rise, because at the end of the day, you do need 8 hours. Some people need less, but there's many studies and scientific research and scientific facts that say that we all need 8 hours, and that there's just some people who got so used to sleeping 6 hours that in their mind, when they sleep 6 hours, they think they're functioning to 100%, but actually they're not. It's just they forgot what it looks like to function to 100% while sleeping 8 hours, and they got used to functioning at 100% with 6 hours, which equals to 70% at 8 hours. That's how it is. Andrew Huberman talked about it a lot on Chris Williamson's podcast, and that's why we all need 8 hours, because functioning to 100% on 8 hours is here, and functioning to 100% on 6 hours is here. So that's why the level is higher when you sleep 8 hours. Your 100% is higher, and it's your true 100% when you sleep 8 hours, and your 100% and your true 100% isn't the real one when you only sleep 6, 5, 7, 4 hours. And that's a fact. That's why early to bed, so you can be early to rise, work like hell. That's a fact of life. If you want something, if you want to succeed a lot, if you want to have the most out of your life and reach your full destiny, like I talked a lot about in the beginning of this episode, if you want to reach your full destiny, you have to work like hell. It's not like simply, okay, I accept that I have my destiny, I'm going to work, and hopefully it's going to happen. You still have to work like fucking hell and work like a fucking maniac, because everything that's good and the bigger ambitions you have, the bigger goals you have, the more you have to work and the more work you have to put in. Because the bigger your goals, the harder it is to achieve. And the harder something is to achieve, the more you have to strive towards it, and the harder you have to work in order to accomplish those goals and those dreams. Chasing your passion fearlessly is my definition of a successful life. Simple as that. That is my definition of a successful life. Because someone who chases his passions fearlessly, no matter what someone says, no matter what happens, no matter what failure he faces, no matter what losses he takes, if he chases his passions fearlessly and relentlessly, he's living life as successfully as he can. Because if you take that guy, when you chase your passion fearlessly, you're going to be happy. You're going to live you're going to experience life to its full extent. And when you experience life to its full extent, that's when your soul is fully fulfilled. Someone who has way more money than the other person who is chasing his passion, but that person who has way more money isn't chasing his passions, his soul isn't going to be fulfilled. Your soul doesn't care about material good. Your soul doesn't care about money. Your soul only cares about your passions and about what you love doing and about what you are connected with the universe with. So someone who has way more money but isn't living his passion, isn't chasing his passion, his soul won't be as fulfilled as someone who does chase his passion and who is living his passion. That's why, in my opinion, the full definition of a successful life is living and chasing your passions fearlessly and relentlessly. Okay, next topic. This is probably the biggest advice. If I could go back in time and give let's say I'm 25 years old right now, and give a 15-year-old Andre one piece of advice, I would tell him, everything you're afraid to do, do it. Do it as quickly as possible. Start as soon as possible and never stop. When you face your fears, I talked about it so many times, that's when you level up the most. When you face your fears, when you work hard and when you never give up, that is when you level up the most as a human being. So I would tell that 15-year-old Andre, if I could go back in time 10 years ago, I would tell him, face your fears as fast as possible, as soon as possible, and as crazy as possible, and never give up. Do it as soon as possible, because the faster you do it, the faster you're going to reach your goals, and the faster you're going to level up as a human being, and the faster you're going to be to the destiny of reaching your full potential. That is something I would tell myself. If I could only tell a 15-year-old Andre only one piece of advice, that would be it. Maybe in 10 years it's going to change. When I'm going to be 35, I'm going to say, you know what I could tell a 25-year-old Andre right now will be something different. But right now, as a 25-year-old, what I would tell a 15-year-old Andre, that would be it. Find what your fears are. You know deep down what your fears are. We all know what our fears are. And I'm talking about rational fears. Like I said, don't go outside and fight with a fucking bear. That's irrational fear. Keep that fear, because that's going to keep you alive. But face all the fears that are holding you back from reaching your full destiny, from reaching your full potential. Face all of them fearlessly. Even if you're scared, do it scared. Do it afraid. Who cares? Live life. Always be out of your comfort zone. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's when you're going to grow the most. Face your fears to the most. And that's the most important. So that was it, guys, for this episode. See you next episode with Luca. Been a long time. We're going to talk about soccer. Peace out.